Now at 9, area health providers discuss the authorization of Pfizer's vaccine for young kids.
Democrats and Republicans weigh in after election 2021 favor the GOP in several key races. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with the latest on the fallout and what it means for President Biden's spending proposals coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Local officials discussed the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. Freeman Health System held a media briefing today to discuss the vaccine. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
The emergency use authorization granted to Pfizer for its COVID vaccine opens the door for more Americans to get vaccinated, but it also opens the door for more questions. Dr. Kimra Ross, a Freeman pediatrician, says they're ready to answer parents' questions. One of the most common questions is about side effects.
The side effect profile in the 5 to 11-year-old range is the same, but the chance of children having fever, of having fatigue, of having achiness after the vaccine is actually less than it is in us as adults.
Dr. Ross says this will also have an impact on schools.
There are 28 million children in the United States between 5 and 11 that are going to be eligible for this vaccine. That's going to make a huge difference in how this school year goes forward.
The vaccine dosage for kids hasn't arrived yet, but when it does, not everyone will be carrying it. Newton County Health Department Administrator Larry Bergner says they're one agency that won't have it.
We're not handling the Pfizer vaccine, so we're going to refer those kids 5 to 11 to either pharmacy or a medical clinic, so they would need to contact their provider to see if they are handling the Pfizer vaccine.
Bergner says that's because of the storage requirements of the Pfizer vaccine in general, which the health department doesn't have facilities available to handle it. However, he does know the new age group will make a difference.
With this young group now able to be vaccinated, the cases hopefully will continue to come down and we can finally say that we are beyond this pandemic.
Dr. Ross says it's important for parents to do what's right for their kids.
It's helpful. It gives you some protection, but the full protection is coming 2 weeks after the second dose. But parents should certainly plan on getting it as soon as possible and be sure to get that second dose on schedule so that we can further protect our children.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
In Kansas, Governor Laura Kelly spoke to the Safer Classrooms work group about those vaccines for kids now. Kelly says the state has ordered 128,000 doses of the vaccine for the 5 to 11 age group. She says the majority of that has already arrived and the rest is expected by Friday. Half of the doses ordered are going to go to large healthcare providers and local hospitals in packages of 300. The other half are going to be repackaged in smaller amounts for pediatricians, family physicians, community health centers, and other providers.
Should parents choose to do so, we stand ready to vaccinate the more than 260,000 Kansas kids in this age group as quickly and as smoothly as possible. Our schools will continue to be essential partners throughout the vaccine distribution process. We know that the best way to get Kansans vaccinated is to bring the vaccine to them.
Governor Kelly added she's grateful for the school districts that have already expressed interest in hosting vaccine clinics, and she hopes more districts will do the same. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. First look at the forecast. Bit of a chilly night tonight, Nick.
Yeah, we are looking at quite a cold night ahead of us, Jordan, but thankfully, after the rain cleared out, the last of it, thankfully, and some peaks of the sun, we went from 40 this morning to a high of 53, a little earlier than I expected, getting back into the 50s, but we'll take it given what we're walking into as we go throughout the rest of the night. You can see some of the cloud cover we had during the day already trying to break apart in spots. That's resulting in frost advisories in southeast Kansas and much of southwest Missouri and areas around Grand Lake with freeze warnings taking us to 9 a.m. Thursday. Let's see where we stand right now. Upper 30s to lower 40s for a good number of areas north and east of Joplin. Still a lot of mid 40s southwest of the city. But in general, as the cloud cover breaks apart, I see Joplin dropping to 35. Outlying areas, Jordan might drop back into the lower 30s, close to the freezing mark. But we're looking great again tomorrow with highs near 53. And thankfully, Jordan, the numbers go higher from there. Forecast in a bit.
Nick, thank you. Cherokee County, Kansas man pleaded guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder. Authorities say Mark Hopkins II of Columbus shot and killed Blaze Shank of Scammon and Kylan Shook of Pittsburgh back in June of 2020. Hopkins also faces an aggravated escape from custody charge after he and another Cherokee County jail inmate escaped in May. Oklahoma Highway Patrol is investigating the death of a woman found 3 miles north of Commerce, Oklahoma. The OSBI says that woman has been identified as 47-year-old Tony Moran, also known as Tony Torres. Torres was arrested for the 2003 drowning death of her 17-month-old son. The judge found that Torres was insane and ordered her to the care of a mental hospital. She was released, however, in 2011. Joplin police released the names of 3 officers involved in the fatal shooting of an assault suspect. The 3 officers are Officer Pete Box, Officer Daryl Klink, and Sergeant Jason Stump. JPD says all 3 officers are still currently on paid administrative leave. That's per department policy and procedure. Police department says the officers were involved in the fatal shooting of Joseph Endicott, who was a suspect in an assault. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing. Police have not released why the officers shot Endicott. With Democrats reeling after a major gubernatorial loss in Virginia and an unexpectedly tight gubernatorial race in New Jersey. Fox's Madeline Rivera is in D.C. with reaction to the results and what they mean for the president's domestic agenda, still stalled in Congress.
A major blow for Democrats after Terry McAuliffe, a veteran of the party, lost Virginia's high-stakes gubernatorial race to Republican businessman Glenn Youngkin. The results seen by some as a sign of what's to come in next year's midterm elections.
I just think people are at a point, and it's understandable, where there's a whole lot of confusion.
Republicans seized the moment to slam the Democrats' $1.75 trillion social spending bill, calling it out of step with voters.
When you look at what was repudiated last night, that's an extreme progressive liberal agenda that's extremely unpopular.
Democrats now playing the blame game. Some moderate members accusing progressives of going too far on issues from government spending to education. Still, others argue the failure to pass the package and the bipartisan infrastructure bill is in large part to blame for McAuliffe's loss and a surprisingly tight gubernatorial race in New Jersey between Democrat incumbent Phil Murphy and Republican Jack Ciattarelli.
We need to do some things that will start making a difference in people's lives.
Regardless, the party is plowing ahead with their social spending bill, and on Wednesday, House Democrats expanded the plan to include paid family and medical leave and prescription drug pricing reform.
I'd urge them to step forward and vote for it, because then we will have something real to run on in the 22 elections.
The question is if moderate Senator Joe Manchin, a key vote, will support the bill. He says the Republican victory in Virginia validates his concerns about inflation and moving too quickly on the Build Back Better bill. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
This evening, Phil Murphy was declared the winner of the New Jersey gubernatorial race. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Ernest Bond served the U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force. Native of Nevada, Missouri, Bond was stationed in Afghanistan, also the Philippines, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Ernest Bond. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, the Riverton Rams aiming to earn a regional title on Friday and move on to the state quarterfinals. Going to hear from the team. Sports.
The last of the rain chances thankfully cleared out today, and not only that, we finally saw some peaks of the sun return as well, resulting in warmer temperatures than I was expecting. Instead of upper 40s, we'll take the lower 50s that we saw today, and we'll definitely see that again as we go into tomorrow. For the time being, we got a quiet live look from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. A good indication that after a cloudy start this morning, and not to mention the last hurrah of the rain chances that we'll see for the next several days, that's finally out. So we're definitely trending in the right direction. At least we're not going to deal with any more accumulating rain. The little that we've seen, though, averaged out to just under 1/4 of an inch for much of this week. For the time being, though, we're keeping things quiet, which is good, but note how the cloud cover is really trying to break apart now. That is setting us up for quite a cold night, cold enough that frost advisories are out for much of southeast Kansas. And for pretty much all of southwestern Missouri, these are freeze warnings, also extending down toward the Arkansas line and over toward Grand Lake in northeastern Oklahoma. Those will stick with us until 9 a.m., so you already have a good idea of how cold it's going to be to get your Thursday morning started. We've got actually some clearing skies up top in Joplin, 43 degrees, a dew point of 38, but as moisture continues to dry up, this number will drop, and so too will the temperatures. They'll continue to drop throughout the course of the night. We already have some upper 30s popping up around Fort Scott and Nevada. Everybody else is trying to hold on to mainly lower to middle 40s, but as we continue to erode away the cloud cover, it is going to be a cold start before we go back into the 50s tomorrow. One reason for the cold start, high pressure sitting on top of northeastern Missouri. That's keeping a light breeze in place, but also eating away at the clouds. Not to mention the last upper level wave with any rain chances is working into the deep south now. We're just waiting for a quick little upper level ridge building out of Mexico to build toward us. That's going to really warm us up in a good direction as we go toward the weekend. But we'll continue to watch the skies go between mostly clear and partly cloudy. You can see how that will impact temperatures. Under the clouds, you'll be just above freezing, but everybody else averaging out close to like 32, 34, 35 degrees as we get your Thursday morning started. But here, the Future Track's overdoing cloud cover for the afternoon, but it's pretty much got the right idea as far as temperatures go. We are going back into the lower 50s tomorrow. 34 in the morning, 49 by noon. A nice rebound with a high of 53. Thursday night, Friday morning, it's going to be another night where temperatures flirt with the mid-30s, so we got to watch those temperatures again. Then, despite some late afternoon clouds on Friday, we're going back at least into the mid-50s. Good indication that that upper ridge builds in, that jet stream stays right on top of the region for Saturday and lifts north for Sunday and Monday. And with that, we are looking at pretty nice temperatures. Definitely a heat wave compared to how cool this week has been. 53 on Thursday, 56 Friday, 62 on Saturday, near 70 for Sunday and Monday, Jordan. We'll take it before going back into Doug's pattern. We'll see our next best shot for any rain by Tuesday and Wednesday.
I'm enjoying this crisp fall air that we got going on.
Yeah, any sensitive plants may not like it, but there are some that like this chill.
By the way, you're into the whole fall coffee flavor thing, right?
Some of it,
somewhat?
yeah.
All right. Well, later in the show, we're going to hear about some new flavors.
Okay.
All right, so stick around, Nikhil.
I will.
All right. Coming up, another key case in front of the U.S. Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court heard arguments in a Second Amendment case, the biggest of its kind in more than a decade. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with more coming up.
Supreme Court heard arguments in the biggest legal battle for the Second Amendment in more than 10 years. Emotions are running high outside the nation's highest court. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in D.C. with more.
America needs all us to speak out, even when you have to fight to find the words.
Activists for gun reform and gun rights gathered outside the Supreme Court Wednesday.
Anybody who is a law-abiding citizen should have the right to carry a firearm to defend themselves.
As inside, the 6-3 conservative majority court heard arguments on New York's century-old gun permit law. It requires people to prove proper cause for a concealed gun permit.
Carrying a firearm outside the home is a fundamental constitutional right. It is not some extraordinary action that requires an extraordinary demonstration of need.
There is no final ruling yet, and a decision could have nationwide implications. There are more than half a dozen states with similar laws. The justices expressed concerns with allowing state entities to broadly decide who and where people can exercise the Second Amendment.
Why isn't it good enough to say I live in a violent area and I want to be able to defend myself?
While the more liberal justices wondered, along with activists, if allowing more concealed guns could allow for more violence.
There are 50,000 people in one place. They're all on top of each other. We don't want guns there. That's you couldn't, the city or the state couldn't do that.
The Chief Justice, seemingly skeptical of the argument, rural residents should have access to a permit more than those in the city.
How many muggings take place in the forest?
If the Supreme Court does not pass the issue back to the lower courts, a final ruling is expected in June of next year. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Next, going to go over some changes at Facebook. This after concerns over privacy. There's an ongoing computer chip shortage, not potato chip shortage. These days, you never know. And that shortage is hitting Nintendo. The video game maker is cutting production of the Switch because it can't get the chips for them. Reports say Nintendo is going to make 20% fewer Switch consoles through the end of this fiscal year, which wraps up in March. That amounts to about 24 million fewer units. A new study says children's time in front of electronic screens grew during the coronavirus pandemic. Researchers say children are spending an average of 7.7 hours a day in front of those screens, and that time does not include doing schoolwork, by the way. Researchers compiling the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study took data from more than 5,400 adolescents aged 10 to 14. Child experts say the effects of that much time are seen in behaviors such as social skills difficulties, social anxiety, fear of social interaction as well. A pediatrician says effects of high screen time include tired eyes, headaches, and weight gain. Facebook continuing to come under fire. The social media giant announcing new changes after critics say a software program used to identify users online compromised privacy. Fox News' Gary Baumgartner reports.
More big changes coming to Facebook. The social media giant says it will stop using its facial recognition software, a tool allowing the company to recognize a person's identity from content uploaded to Facebook. Critics say technology like this can compromise people's privacy. Facebook says it will delete the facial data it's gathered from more than 1 billion people.
It is time for us to adopt a new company brand to encompass everything that we do.
Meanwhile, although the name of the social media site remains Facebook, the Facebook Corporation is now called Meta, as officials shift their focus to developing a virtual reality platform. But critics say the name change is a distraction from whistleblower Frances Haugen's allegations the company's algorithms harm children and promote hate.
You can't just leave the dirty stuff aside or sweep it under the rug or put it to one end and say you're just going to focus on the good stuff.
Haugen has since called on Mark Zuckerberg to resign from his role as CEO during a web summit in Portugal on Monday. But Meta officials at that same summit say that they've been hard at work addressing some of Haugen's concerns.
I think that this will accelerate more transparency, including over algorithms, more research, including about kids online, and more regulation.
Meta officials also say Facebook has been investing in content moderation in more countries to prevent negative content from circulating. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
All right, gonna help you get in that Thanksgiving mood for a new list of the most hated Thanksgiving Day foods. I don't know, man, that looks pretty good to me. More on this when we come back.
Nominate your
warranty. Just a few weeks out from Thanksgiving, and a new survey reveals what people are not looking forward to on that Thanksgiving Day table. The poll of 1,000 people from travel sites and vacation here found that, believe it or not, the star of the whole show, turkey, was one of the most disliked foods. And the only thing that beat it, cranberry sauce, yeah. Well, until recently, I didn't like it. Rounding out the top 5 were green beans, sweet potatoes, and stuffing. Also making the list, ham, pumpkin pie, and mac and cheese. My goodness, what is there left to eat? You people are so... I mean, it's food. It's good food.
They didn't say stuffing.
They didn't say stuff. Well, I think I... No, I guess I didn't. I don't know. All right. Then there's this. Starbucks unveiling its holiday looks. The coffee giant says its latest holiday cups each feature a gift-inspired design. The 4 cups are different designs right there. Wrapping paper, ribbons, holiday lights, and candy cane also feature a gift tag on the back of each one. Now, a new drink for 2021 is the non-dairy iced sugar cookie almond milk latte. Sounds pretty good, yeah? Starbucks also bringing back a couple of its seasonal drinks, including the peppermint mocha, the Irish cream cold brew, and the caramel brulee latte. All of Starbucks' new holiday offerings are going to be available starting tomorrow. I've never been concerned about the cups themselves, just what's in the cups. And last year they had like this gingerbread thing, I think. It was so good.
That's really good.
Yeah. All right. 30 more minutes news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Oklahomans will soon be able to serve themselves beer and wine thanks to a recently passed law. I'm Bronte Starotsky with the impact that this could have on workforce shortages in the state.
Also, some high school students are helping strangers afford a place to call home.
Looking for a new...
We're still talking about some people not liking mac and cheese for Thanksgiving. How could you? All right, moving on. Many Oklahoma laws taking effect this week, with one that could change the way customers consume their alcohol while also handling workforce shortages. KUN's Bronte Sorotsky's both industry experts as well as a restaurant in Grove in tonight's Making It Work report.
Jason Evans has been in the restaurant industry for a long time.
Over in Joplin at Red Hot and Blue with Mitch Allen, and was there for a few years, and then ended up going to Wichita and ran some places, Old Chicago, Fox and Hounds.
And says in all his experience, he's never seen a workforce shortage this bad.
I've been doing this a long time and never seen a situation like we're in right now.
But some newly passed Oklahoma legislation is aimed at fixing this, while also giving customers a more enjoyable experience. The new law allows patrons to serve themselves beer and wine from an automated machine. Patrick Lively from the Craft Brewers Association of Oklahoma says he believes this is a step in the right direction after seeing the industry struggle for over 18 months, and believes the new law could help with that.
We're seeing people reduce their hours because they can't staff them, or keep portions of their restaurants or bars closed because they're unstaffed. So, I mean, I definitely think there's a huge motivation there.
Evans says although the law is new, he won't rule out bringing it to his own business.
They've got them at baseball stadiums and different things where, you know, you just put your cup on the thing and that little spigot deal, and it fills up your beer, and then you just go on down the road. There's definitely some potential for us to be able to do something like that here.
Especially as he and other area businesses say they struggle due to low staffing.
Because everybody's so short-staffed. I mean, I literally have cooks in the back that are fielding phone calls from other restaurants saying, hey, can you come work for me?
In Grove, Bronte Sorotsky, KUAM News.
Self-serve alcohol machines are going to only serve people up to 32 ounces of beer and 10 ounces of wine. Employees, by the way, will be able to still keep track of the exact amount and make sure the customer is served and charged properly. Portion of Main Street in Joplin is going to be closed tomorrow. The city is bringing in a crane to untangle the American flag on City Hall's rooftop and restring the pole for the Missouri state flag. Now, Main Street from 4th to 7th will be closed from 7 a.m. to noon tomorrow for this work. Drivers should, of course, use streets to the east or west to get around this work. Middle school students in Chinook, Kansas got to try out some new food trucks. Yeah, eat beef. That's because the trucks were designed by career course students as part of an entrepreneurial project. Project had students learn and apply culinary, accounting, supply chain, design, marketing, and managerial strategies. Student clubs and organizations across Crowder College are making sure other students always have something to eat. The groups are putting on a food drive through November 19th, collecting non-perishable food items and hygiene products. Those donations are going to benefit Watered Gardens and the Ryder Pantry, which students can access when in need.
It's going on until November 19th. We're collecting everything like canned food, everything that's not going to expire, and then the Rough Rider Pantry actually accepts like personal hygiene products and just things that students might want and need.
Just a reminder, our own Fox 14 food drive for area food pantries, Feed the Four States, kicks off on November 14th. Local businesses today set up shop at McDonald County High School to let students know about potential career opportunities. More than 35 businesses and higher education representatives signed up to take part. Officials say it's a pretty good mix to let students know what's available for them in the working world.
Not everybody has to go to college, and we're trying to show them that they may just want to go to a 2-year college, or if they want to go to a 4-year, there's chances for them, but some people want to just go to welding school, or they just want to be carpenters, and so we try to give them a wide variety of different opportunities to see what all the jobs offer out there and what kind of education that they'll need.
The career fair had been an annual event, but the pandemic forced it to go into a little bit of a hiatus. Some area students decided to put their lessons to work and help their community. Awesome story right here. Fort Scott Community College in Southeast Kansas Career and Technical Education Center students today helped build the foundation for a Habitat for Humanity house in Pittsburgh.
Really the best way to learn the trade is by doing it. And so we are a very hands-on based school with our classes. And so, but this does give them a chance to get out in the elements and see how it really goes up in a real situation.
Students will continue the work tomorrow as well. Good job. China's nuclear weapons program has prompted a rare warning from Pentagon officials about the balance of power among world militaries. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more from the Pentagon.
Faster and bigger. A new Pentagon report shows China growing its nuclear warhead stockpile at an alarming rate, with more than 1,000 warheads expected to be deployed by the end of the decade. That's a big change from last year's report, when analysts predicted at least 400 Chinese nukes by 2030.
Really, it's most concerning because it's part of a massive military buildup, huge buildup of the Navy, Air Force, rocket force, and nuclear forces.
The Pentagon says China is able to build its stockpile because of increased plutonium production and the construction of hundreds of new silos, while the U.S. is limited to 1,500 warheads by international treaties. There are no arms control agreements between Beijing and any other country. The report followed an announcement from China that it had completed a successful test of a hypersonic missile, a space-based next-generation weapon capable of carrying nukes that could be virtually unstoppable after launch. The test was not covered in the new report, but it rattled Pentagon officials, which is developing its own hypersonic weapons program.
It's in the budget. You can read it for yourself. Our own pursuit of hypersonic capabilities is real.
Meanwhile, as Beijing builds up its military, it's also insisting it's not looking for a fight.
To maintain peace, security, and stability in South Asia is in the common interest of all sides.
The report also says that China is building up its chemical and biological weapons programs and beefing up its Navy. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
All right, so a bit later, what's being called a climate controversy. President Biden has promised to reduce methane gas emissions, yet is preparing to sell oil and gas leases on public land.
It's After being stuck in the 40s for much of this week so far, not to mention quite a bit of clouds and rain chances coming and going along, we finally got rid of the rain. Once we got past this morning, and temperatures were actually quick to jump back into the lower 50s today because we did see some peaks of the sun a little earlier than I expected, but we'll certainly take it. And now we're looking at a quiet and mostly clear shot from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. Here was the last of our rain chances that we'll see for the next several days. You can see how quickly it cleared out after we got past the morning drive, as a matter of fact. Now we're starting to see some of this cloud cover break apart. It's a good thing we're drying things out because even though we didn't see much in the way of rain so far this week, averaging out just under 1/4 of an inch, we're still trying to dry things out from all the wet rainfall that we've seen over the past several days, if not the past few weeks. But now we're starting to see our mostly cloudy skies turn more partly cloudy, and that's leading us to quite a cold start for your Thursday morning. Cold enough that, in fact, frost advisories are out for southeast Kansas, freeze warnings for southwestern Missouri, and stretching down to about Grand Lake in northeast Oklahoma. Until those expire by 9 a.m., be sure that you are ready for a cold start as we get our Thursday underway. At least we're looking okay from 7th and Range Line. Clear skies up top, 43 degrees and a calm breeze. The dew point might be at 38 now, but earlier this evening we were seeing that number in the mid-30s. We're going to see more dry air, drop those dew points again, and that definitely means we'll be dropping back into the 30s as we go through the overnight. In fact, some areas north of Joplin are already there. We're at 36 at Fort Scott, 39 in Pittsburgh. Everyone else are seeing lower to middle 40s, but everyone's going to drop back into the 30s for sure tonight as we continue to see some more of this cloud cover break apart. Other than that, not tracking much across the region, at least at the surface. We have an area high pressure, keeping that breeze light and trying to eat away at the remaining cloud cover. And upstairs, the last wave that brought some rain this morning is well to the south and east of us now, and we're just waiting for the digestion to return as that upper ridge out in Mexico starts building back in. That will warm us up in due time, but we got to get past a few cold nights for sure, including tonight, where if you're not underneath the clouds, you'll be flirting with the freezing mark, and you can see how Joplin will be around 34, 35 degrees to start the morning out. But by the time we get past sunrise, I think we'll just deal with partly sunny skies. I think the future track's overdoing cloud cover here. I don't think it'll be as cloudy as what this is suggesting, but it's got the right idea with temperatures though. 34 in the morning, 49 by noon. Highs, a good rebound back to 53. With mostly clear skies going into Friday morning though, this could be another potential frosty start to the day, so we need to watch those numbers as well. And despite some late afternoon clouds on Friday, look at those numbers bouncing back into the mid-50s for highs, and we continue to rise up from there. We're back in the 60s Saturday, near 70 for Sunday and Monday with the jet lifting back to the north. But then we stick with Doug's pattern and we see our next wave with any rain or thunderstorm chances holding off until Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So we got a few cold starts to keep an eye on, Jordan, but the daytime certainly looking warmer. 53 tomorrow, 56 Friday, 60s return Saturday, and pushing near 70 Sunday and Monday.
Time change on Sunday, right?
Yeah, we'll lose that extra hour daylight, but I'm looking forward to a little more sleep.
Yeah, me too. That is a positive. All right, Nick Kelly, thank you so much. Coming up in sports, going to hear from both the Riverton Rams and Chanute Blue Comets as they aim to claim regional championships Friday night. Also, Missouri Southern preparing to face 6th-ranked Northwest Missouri in their final home game of the season. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
At Johnson Florida on Fox.
This week is a big week for the Missouri Southern football team. The Lions welcome in the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats on Saturday in the final home game of the regular season. Southern is 3-6 through 9 games, while the Bearcats are 7-1 and ranked number 6 in the country. Now, the Lions have lost 25 consecutive games to the Bearcats, so obviously it's a tough game for Southern, but it's also a chance late in the season to see where they stack up against the best of the best in the MIAA.
You get to finally see what the MIAA is all about. You get to see the best in D2, so we get to gauge ourselves finally.
We're going to face one of the top teams in Division II nationally, and so that's where we want to be. That's our goal, is to be considered for the national playoffs at the end of the season. And so it'll be good for us to see a playoff caliber team come in and go battle with.
The big news for this weekend's Chiefs-Packers game, Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers will miss Sunday's game in Kansas City after testing positive for COVID-19. Now, because he is considered unvaccinated, Rodgers will have to quarantine for a minimum of 10 days and cannot return until November 13th. Now, with the reigning league MVP out, 2020 first-round pick Jordan Love is expected to make his first career start on Sunday against the Chiefs. This Friday is the biggest game of the season for the Chanute Blue Comets. Chanute hosts Bishop Miege with a 4A regional title on the line. The Blue Comets are 8-1 this season, winning 8 straight games heading into Friday. We caught up with Coach Frizzell to talk about having a chance to earn a regional title and lining up against a really good Bishop Miege roster.
Very athletic team. You know, they play in a really tough conference, so their record never matches how good of a football team they are. It's one that we've been looking forward to and hoping we could get to this point. And it is a big one. We're really excited at the opportunity that we have on Friday. We need everybody in Chanute, Kansas out there. I've already talked to Sean Price and Bo Graham. They said they're coming over with some guys and some of our league coaches coming to watch. So hopefully there'll be a big crowd. It'll be a beautiful night for a playoff game in November.
In Class 3A, the Riverton Rams have a regional championship game of their own on Friday night. The Rams host Osage City, looking to move on to the state quarterfinals. Riverton is 7-2 overall after beating Eureka in the first round of the playoffs last week. 7 wins is the most for the program since 2010. It's been a steady climb for the Rams since Johnny Mallett took over 5 years ago. Mallett and the Rams are hoping that climb continues, and they live to play another day Friday night.
I've been this place before, but these kids haven't, So I'm probably more excited for the kids than I am myself even. And but they've worked hard. We've came through 5 years. First year we had 16 kids out here. Now we run 35, 40 kids, and they're starting to play football again here at Riverton. And if you get the kids out, Riverton will have good football teams.
I'm stoked. We haven't done this in a long time, very long time, and all these guys are just ready to do it in front of our hometown and just really trying to get a win.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
A bomb attack.
When it comes to addressing climate change, some activists say politicians are all talk. President Biden is hoping the commitments he's made at the United Nations Climate Summit this week is going to provide concrete solutions. Fox News' Chris DeMeo has more on what the president is proposing, even as his administration is facing criticism over new deals, which could cause some climate setbacks.
I would love to actually see action.
Americans are craving solutions to combat the climate crisis.
We need to act now. We needed to act 30 years ago.
And as President Biden leaves the United Nations Climate Change Summit in Scotland, he's hoping his new pledges to protect the planet will be a good start.
The United States will help the world deliver
on our shared goal of halting natural forest loss and restoring at least an additional 200 million hectares of forest and other ecosystems by the year 2030.
Besides preserving forests, the president is also committed to help reduce global methane gas emissions by 30% over the next 9 years.
We're proposing 2 new rules. One through our Environmental Protection Agency that's going to reduce methane losses from new and existing oil and gas pipelines. And one through the Department of Transportation to reduce wasteful and potential dangerous leaks from natural gas pipelines.
But even though President Biden acknowledges the damaging effects of fossil fuel use and production, his administration is still preparing to sell oil and gas leases on vast areas of public land across several western states starting next year. Prohibiting new drilling operations on public lands was one of Biden's promises along the campaign trail last year.
The United States is going to lead by our example.
The Bureau of Land Management predicts new oil and gas leases will result in more harmful greenhouse gas emissions, causing Americans to experience more severe weather patterns and climate-related health problems, which could cost upwards of $7 billion in damages. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Going to hear about the host of this year's American Music Awards, Hollywood Nation, coming your way. An action-packed trailer, a streamer's new venture, and the American Music Awards announced this year's host. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all of this in the Hollywood Nation.
Cardi B runs the show, Netflix goes gaming, and marvel at Leto's latest role in the Hollywood Nation. Fans get a new look at Jared Leto as Morbius, a character who breaks the line between hero and villain. Leto leads as Dr. Michael Morbius as he finds his self-treatment for a rare blood disorder unleashes a dark, powerful alter ego. The trailer has Easter egg seekers already analyzing Spider-Man and Venom references.
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
They'll get all the answers when the action thriller is in theaters this January.
And showtime.
Netflix Games just launched. Noting it's in the early days of creating the experience, the streamer announced the venture with 5 mobile games, including Stranger Things 1984 and Stranger Things 3: The Game. A Netflix subscription is the all-access pass. Games are available on Android devices when users log into their profile. Rapper Cardi B is ready to party at the American Music Awards. The 5-time AMA winner has performed on the show in the past and will make her debut as host of the show this year. The fan-voted 2021 American Music Awards airs live from LA Sunday, November 21st on ABC. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of Bengal tiger cubs at a Mexican zoo. Just having fun. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.